I'm a little bit emotional. Not because of my struggle, but because God would still continue to use a person like me. And you know the devil's always up to his antics. He tried to get me with the mic when I stood up. I'm like, why is the mic coming off my ear? Where's the pack at? But you know what? Yes, it has been a while since I've been in the pulpit to preach. Now I've talked to our men during our men's breakfast. I helped my wife teach our Bible study on Wednesday. But I haven't felt like God to release me to do this at this moment until 2 Fridays ago when I was vacuuming the floor right there. And Lord said, I need you to get off the bench. Who said that? But I started a journey 7.5 years ago when I got a diagnosis for Parkinson's disease. I ain't gonna lie, in that moment, I thought it was all that God was doing to me was gonna be done. Evidently, I didn't know my God as well as I thought I did. Because there's plenty of people in the Bible that God used that you would look at me like, why did he use that guy? But through this time, God has been teaching me to be patiently endure the struggle that I deal with. Because it's going to be a great example to those around me. And I ain't going to lie, at first I'm like, no, Lord, I don't want a part of this. Could I just get my healing now? Because you said in your word that I could be healed. And that's when those two words come to my heart. I need you to patiently endure. All right, God. All right. And don't get me wrong, it has its challenging moments. So if you see me start shaking or I get to standing still, it's because my foot is about to cramp up or my hands are about to start doing the jig. I mean, I tease people. I'd be like, well, if the Lord didn't call me to be a pastor, I'd make a good bartender because I could shake a martini like nobody's business. But he didn't, that's not in his plan for me. So today I just want to share my journey with you a little bit and what God's taught me through that journey. Because that's the most important thing. You are on a journey today. All of you. And there's a lot of people watching to see how you're going to react to the trials and the tribulations of this life. Because the Word says that we will have them. So if you got your Bibles with you today, would you turn to James 1, and we're going to read 2 through 4. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. Before this walk, didn't want to hear that too much. Now that I've been in this walk about 7.5 years, it's true to the statement. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. Let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Do I feel like I'm there? No, but I'm a whole lot further along in the process than I was when this first started. I'm going to scoot that back because I'm going to keep stepping on it and it's going to end up tipping over. Endurance in the Bible is the active faith-filled ability to remain under pressure, steadfast bearing trials without giving up or compromising, fueled by hope in God's promises. I got everything I need in Jesus. Everything I need, and so do you, if you know Him. In James 1:2, he talks about us, and if we, or when we come into troubles, not if. And James is talking to the believer. One thing, I didn't learn it off the get-go, but throughout my walk with the Lord, I learned that we're not exempt from stuff. We live in a fallen world, and if he gave us a perfect world here, why would we pursue heaven? It's not to steal nothing from us. It's not to keep us under his thumb, because that's not how God works. God will give trials and tribulations, but more time than most, he works through the things the world is doing to us to show that we can overcome the world just as he did. I mean, Jesus has given us a lot of examples. So just so I can get y'all's interaction, every time I stick my hands up like this, I want y'all to say, patiently endure. Like I said, there's many people that are in that, well, a whole lot of folks are in the Bible that had to deal with stuff. But there's plenty of examples in the Old and the New. In the Old Testament, I find it to be what has already happened and what we can look forward to, or what their example set for us. Just testing you. First person I want to talk about today is Joseph. Joseph, man, from the get-go, yeah, his daddy loved him, but nobody else around him evidently did, because his brothers, they tried to kill him. They sold him into slavery. He wound up in prison. But Joseph, another figure in the Old Testament, David, a man after God's own heart. He was hunted by the very king that he served, and that he loved his king. But because of the favor of God on David's life and the fact that God was taking the kingdom away from Saul and going to give it to David, David had to run for his life for quite a while. This ain't in my notes, but let me tell you something. Time is important to God, and it should be important to us, because we don't. You might say you learn lessons easily. I would beg to differ. We don't learn the lesson that's going to benefit us in a quick way. I've learned it over time. Over 7.5 years, I've learned to trust God with everything. With everything. But David, in my final Old Testament person of interest, we'll call it that, was Job. And I've had two people speak something over me that kind of made me shake in my boots when they said it. They're like, when both of them were praying over, and they're like, have you considered my servant Tim? And I'm like, whoa, hold up. Have you read what happened to Job? He might be messing with my health, but at least I got my wife, I got my kids, and somewhat moderate wealth. But in the long run, Job, and because of those stories in the Old Testament, we can know that God is with us. If you've accepted him into your heart, he hasn't abandoned you. Do I have rough days? Yeah, come to my home group on Wednesday night. My evenings are a little rougher than my daytimes. But God allows me to. That's right. The one who endured the most was able to teach the most. Jesus. He just messes me up. Let's turn to Matthew 10:22. It might not be just health issues we deal with. We deal with the fact that we know Jesus, and people aren't going to like it. In 22 it says, "And all nations will hate you because you are my follower. But everyone who endures to the end will be saved." Anyone who endures to the end. Does it become a little harder for those who are enduring something different? What I endure with is no different than the things you endure with. Maybe you don't have Parkinson's, but you have something that God is using to hone you and to shape you into Him. If you look at a person who refines gold, he heats it up. He heats it up into such a point where all the impurities flow to the top, where God's allowed to skim them off. And then when he looks down into that gold, he sees his image. That's what I long for. I long for the day that he says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." But until that time comes, I will endure this trial and any other one that comes along my way because of what I'm striving for. To be more like Jesus here and to be with him there. So I will. You know, in Hebrews 12, we are encouraged to finish what good and perfect work God has started because people are watching. In Hebrews 12:1 it says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the faith and to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily traps us, and let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us." Some things we have to endure, or we endure, is not because of the world. It's because we've allowed sin in our life. And there's one thing God does not want you to patiently endure, and that's sin. He wants that out of your life. Treat it with absolute prejudice. I mean, when it raises its head, I pull out my trusty sword, I rear back, and I give him a good swipe, and he runs like a dog. Now, he might be yelling at me as he's running off, but nevertheless, he runs. And James challenges us to take every trial an opportunity for growth and spiritual maturity. My wife actually put this verse on my mirror in my bathroom because she knows I'm going to see it every morning. And she encourages me so much. Without the Lord, without my wife, and without my family, I would not be as far along in my faith walk as if this trial had never come to me. People are watching to see how we're going to respond. I mean, I don't do it. I mean, quite honestly, I try to do things where I don't get watched while I'm doing them. It's just like a fail-safe for me right now. And I think that's why God said something to me. I need you to be out there where people can see you. I know you don't like it because I don't like when I'm sitting in the restaurant and the Lord has given me a little trigger when I know something's coming on. My left big toe will start doing this. And then I know shortly after that, it's going to be doing this. So, but if people don't see your trials and you hide them and you don't bring them to light, no one can learn from it. I'm sure that there's some folks that have learned patience when having to deal with me. Surely my wife. She might be the most patient person in the building. But endurance is very important to our Christian walk. It's one of our most enduring qualities is the virtue of endurance. Enduring hardships and trials builds character, strength, and hope in our God. In Romans 5:3-4, we can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they will help us develop endurance, and endurance develops strength in character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. Oh, I forgot. In James. There we go. When we overcome trials, these are what is built within you. We develop a patience and resilience, a deeper trust in God. We gain a clear view of priorities of life. There's a lot of stuff I like to do, but right now I'm just in a place where I'm kind of at the mercy of my medication, I would say. So when I'm having a good time, I try to give the Lord as much of that as possible. And my wife, because my wife deserves some of my good time too. And then the stuff I have to do, I pray through. Because He is faithful. He is so faithful. Find joy in life's trials. Patiently enduring builds a level of spiritual maturity in us that we will never gain without the trial. You need to write that down. We will never live up to God's potential for us without the trial. We'll have no testimony. I thought my testimony was I used to be a drug dealer and I got shot a couple times. But now my testimony is I've endured. God didn't give up on me when I was dealing drugs and got shot. Matter of fact, my own stupidity didn't squash God's plan for my life. He wasn't willing to let it go. But I'll tell you what, I got old friends that call that are not Christians. But because of something I've unwilling or unknowingly done has changed their mind to maybe they ain't accepting, but we know Tim has something going on in his life that will help me get through my trials. Now my prayer is that those late night calls when they're high will turn into something, because in the moment I'm a little irritated that I'm getting woke up. But when I hear my friend on the other side of the line that feels hopeless, and my worry is that he might do something, because I've already lost one friend that was in such a hopeless place in his health and in his life that he hung himself. Lord, let that not never happen again on my watch. Like I said, I've been on a 7.5-year journey, and a journey before that. Many of you know me, and you've walked this journey out with me. Many of you don't, because we do have some visitors in the room. I love Jesus. I love him with all my heart. I can't do nothing but serve him. I have no will to do anything else. And that's because he placed that in me. Trust me, I didn't build that on my own. Being a pastor and dealing with all that comes along with being a pastor was not on my radar. I mean, matter of fact, Jesus wasn't even on my radar before him. But once he got on my radar, Kinsey, you want to come up and play? But I know that this trial in my life will build, and I'll get there because of these things that I've learned along the way. Number one, be a person of prayer. And maybe you ain't got trials, but you know somebody's going through a trial. Be a person of prayer. Pray for them. It ain't always about us. It's about everyone around us. I mean, I tell you, I spend more time praying for other people than I do my own sickness. Well, hold on, scratch that. This is not my sickness. I don't receive it. At the beginning of this, I claimed it. But now I get corrected every time I say it because Parkinson's and sickness and trials and tribulations are not mine. They're just a tool in which God will use to make me better. Make me better for the people around me and make me better for his kingdom. Stay rooted in the Word. If we don't read the Word, I would have never run across those shining examples of men and women of God. And I'm not going to say it's the most important thing, but it's pretty profound to me. Find strength in your Christian community. I get so much encouragement from y'all. From folks that, have known me, but maybe don't go to this church. When they see me out in public, they're like, man, you just inspired us. And I'm just like, it ain't me. I'm weak and flawed. But I serve a God who will not leave me nor forsake me. He picks me up, he dusts me off, settles my hands and my feet so that I can continue to walk. What I didn't tell you about the story between Joseph, David, and Job, the ending is for the glory of God. God put Joseph in a place in Egypt where he was imprisoned at, and he gave him such favor because of what God did, that his family was saved in the end, because he became the second most powerful person in Egypt because of a famine. And because of all the trial, he didn't get sent straight to Egypt. There was a process of getting him there. And I find it funny, the youth in the room that had me as their youth pastor, I talked about the process a lot. And I didn't know I was setting myself up for a process later in life. But God works through the process. If he took our trials and the things we deal with away immediately, we would learn nothing. Matter of fact, we might fall in the same hole over and over and over. Today we have an opportunity. In our life we will have trials, but we must not give up. We have to keep pushing forward and know that God's will gives us strength and endurance that we need. Sometimes I feel like that's my life right there. I'm pushing a rock up a big hill. And during worship, and this is the craziest thing, God talks to me in weird ways. Sometimes I'm like, is that really God? I'm not pushing the rock up the hill by myself. Jesus is right behind me, pushing me to push the rock. I'm like, is that the tush push, Lord? Are you giving me a holy tush push up the hill? Yeah, I think it is. But I'll take him on my team any day because he helps me and he'll help you. I want to end like this. I want to have our prayer team come up, but I want y'all to stay on the sides. I want to leave this open for those who, if you want somebody to pray with you verbally, they'll be on the sides. If you just want to come and ask the Lord for strength for whatever you're dealing with, maybe it's of the world's making, maybe it's of your making and it's sin, come and repent. Give it to the Lord, and he'll take it from you. And then whatever, maybe you're being ridiculed or chastised by your job or people around you. Come forth and allow the Lord to speak to you. If you ask him, he'll engage you.